My overall take on this for the average do-it-yourselfer is because of the requirement to do the rivnut. This is probably not an average do-it-yourselfer job, but I will post at the beginning of this video. I'll add maybe the type of rivnut that I would recommend purchasing if you're going to attempt to do it yourself. Daniel Boyer here, gonna try to get a Frontrunner rack installed on 5th generation 4Runner tonight. So step one is to remove the rails, the stock rails that it comes with, the little plastic pieces that are right here. They just come up with a little extra help from a screwdriver. You just get in between the rubber right here and the plate right there, and it pops up. You've got to try to do it carefully, because as you can see, you've got just little snap-ins there that you'll waste if you don't do it very easily. So once you get that, then it's just a matter of removing the bolts, and then you can go to the next step of adding the roof rack rails, the Frontrunner Slimline II roof rack rails. So at this point, it wants you to assemble the rails. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rails assembled, and then we can move on from there manually soon. So this is what it looks like after you've got everything ready to be bolted down, those plates. It's going? Yeah. So the thing is to put these little nut covers on. After sorting everything out, looks like we are missing a couple of those covers. So pretty good for that many parts, but still a little bit of a bummer. The next thing that they want us to do is to come from the center of the front hole here and make sure we're right in the center of that, and measure out 570 millimeters. There's 520. There's 570. Supposed to center one of these spacers right over the lines that we did. So right in the center of those five. Hey Emma, you're having fun over there?
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of distraction going on over there.
2, 1.
Okay, so So now we're supposed to mark the outside of those areas so that we can make this, so we can cut out that part of the rails.
Do that on the other side, so do that on both sides.
Okay, now with that marked, we go ahead and just check to see if those seem to line up with the rails, or the rails. So we're going to bring the rails up and just verify that we got those in the right place. And then we will go ahead and cut out the rain channel so that the spacer will fit down inside there. They also say, you know, drill a couple pilot holes straight through right now. So basically, we're trying to accomplish that. So the next part that they want you to do is to go ahead and snip or cut these two areas right here and here out on your rail. I actually am going to use some heavy-duty shears because I think it's a little easier and more precise. So I'm just going to come over here and pull up on the front of this until it gets rid of the glue, the double stick tape that's on the other side, and then just slide it back. So we get to that point, we're going to use a shear, like I said, to go ahead and snip that right in half. So there's one. We're going to do the same thing right there. The next thing that they want us to do is clean up the area around these holes, the factory holes with their little raising little nipples, and then go ahead and caulk around them and put the spacers in place. Same thing will need to be done here. We'll also have to drill specific holes that are the correct size for the inserts. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So one minor issue that I've ran into when installing my Slimline II rack, full rack, so I'm going with the 85, is my rear area, my rear area that I need to put my slot on my passenger side, the actual internal rail area just constricts just a little bit so that the spacer does not sit down low enough to be appropriately lodged. So it kind of hangs up a little bit. So I'm gonna take it on a grinder and get some metal out of the way and get that so that it sets right. So I've ground it up and given it just a little bit of a bevel along that edge, and hopefully it'll now sit down inside the rail, the rain gutter, properly. Alright, now I've got it seating properly down in the rain gutter. So I have now repainted the spacer that I had to grind down so that it would fit. At this point in the video, the next step is to get the holes drilled in for the front areas of the rails to attach. We've already kind of got pilot holes that we drilled down through the rain gutters that kind of marked where we were going to need to go to finish the job, but we're not actually drilled all the way through. So some aspects that I learned in the process that the footage just didn't turn out all right was it's very important to make sure that the holes that you drill, that you finish out through, are just barely larger than the rivnuts that are provided. So just make sure that you've got a drill that just barely is larger than that rivnut. I also recommend having a collar on your drill so that it can have a stop, so that it does not go into the airbag that is the side impact airbag that's tucked into that pillar. So you only need to go through about 1/3 of an inch to get through the entire upper area of the chassis there. So if you had a collar on it, it would help protect you as you go through. And finally, I would start out in a nice high-speed drill, and as you get closer and closer, switch to a low speed so that you can make sure that you break through smoothly and not bugger up the chassis around that area, because you want a really nice smooth opening for the rivnut when you are inserting it. Other locations in the internet call it inserts. Fortunately, I work for an exotic vehicle manufacturer, and we use inserts / rivnuts in our manufacturing process, so I was able to just use have one of the people that works with us put the inserts in for me. This is the part that they don't really explain is, the hard part of doing this, and that is like a $400 tool to install a rivnut. So go ahead and install the rivnut. Done. Thanks, Zach. Today I got, inserts, the rivnuts, put in on the front, on the two areas right there, and then on the other side. And that was a little more involved than I anticipated. Anyway, next step right now is to go ahead and now silicone around each of those holes and go ahead and put the rails on. So we'll do that now. So this part is freaking annoying because they don't give you enough space to get anything but wrench in here. You can only do about, not even 180. Just a little over a quarter turn. So
This is going to take some time. Got all the bolts lined up. Got them lubed up. Let's get them tightened up.
Part 1. Go ahead, and if you want to see how the basket goes together, which is a heck of a lot easier, you can check out part 2.